It's big dog season, and you can't stay still because you want it. Talk that talk, George. You still scraping your plate because you're hungry. Talk that talk.
All right, I'm back. I had to stop for a second and take care of something. A nurse trying to get into the house to see my mother. Anyway, it was a beautiful weekend here in Atlanta. I had Easter dinner with my family here. The dinner, we did a nice dinner. Oh, my family members came. Grayson's over here scratching on my side. Hold on a minute, y'all. We had a great weekend. Oh, why this thing? Oh, damn. Grayson, come here. He's clawing the hell out of me. Come here. Get up here. You are such a bad doggy. Anyway, we had a great weekend. I made a prime rib, put it in the oven for Easter Sunday's dinner. We had my brothers and sisters came over. Well, my brother's already here. Two of my sisters came over. And a few family members, my nieces and nephews. My nephews, he brought some friends. And we had a great dinner here at the house. As you all can see, I made it to the barber shop and got my beard cut. So y'all should be happy and grateful. That is not, I let it grow out for a little bit until they can chop it down. No, he did a good job. I like what he did. Anyway, so listen. Over the weekend, Atlanta had this 404 festival, which is just Atlanta. 404 is the area code, the original area code for the city of Atlanta. Everybody, originally, we all had the area code 404 phone number. I still have a 404 phone number. So the 404 number was the original area code dating back to the 70s, 80s, 90s, before they came up with different area codes. So when you hear 404, it means Atlanta, original Atlanta. Nice festival they had. I didn't go to any of the stuff because I figured it'd be crowded. Not really, my hip not really back to normal. I tend to all this walking and running and it ain't gonna work for me. So, but I have a lot of friends who went out to Piedmont Park. They went to the Belt Line. They went down to Underground. They had a lot of different stuff to do. And they had crowds and crowds of people. The traffic was pretty bad. I just went to the gym. I just kind of avoided all that mess. But however, the thing that concerns me about events in urban areas is these kids. The neighborhoods, that's why I refuse to live in these urban black neighborhoods, because the kids are out of control. And the parents don't seem to care. The police are not able to control them. They have this thing called the teenager takeover, where the kids are just running wild and just doing all kinds of stupid stuff. And Atlanta is not the only city that has this problem. I've seen it in Texas. I've seen it in Houston, Texas, at the rodeo event, in Chicago, in Philadelphia, D.C. I haven't seen much of this in New York going on. But in these areas where you got all these black teenagers, they just running wild. It's kind of like, what is the purpose of this? And unfortunately, someone got shot and killed. A 16-year-old girl here at Piedmont Park was shot and killed. So I don't necessarily know if that was such a good idea to have. When you have these events, they have to have an awful lot of security to finish this stuff. So you have to have some type of tight security at the park. Because these teenager takeovers, you're talking about thousands of teenagers that swarm into a area. And it's happened all over Atlanta, from Marietta at the Battery, which is the Brave Stadium, to Mall of Georgia, in the city, Atlantic Station. And they use the internet to set up these places, these dates and times where we all going to show up, we're going to take over. But this isn't a positive takeover where they come in to sing songs and chant and march for world peace. No, they just come to tear up the damn place and have guns and shoot and chaos and just all kinds of madness. And these are all black teenagers. So to me, and they go into areas that are popular. So I don't have to worry about them coming to my neighborhood because there ain't shit going on out here to do a teenage takeover. There ain't nothing going on out here. And that is the reason why I refuse to live in certain neighborhoods. Because these kids are so bad. These teenagers are so horrible. They're so disgusting in Niggaville. You will get killed, harmed, or robbed. It's always these teenagers out of control in Niggaville. And these parents are nowhere to be seen. We know these parents are non-existent, so why even bring it up? And what's going to have to end up happening is these police are going to have to really lay down the law and when these events take place. And I think once these officers put some heat on some of these teenagers and arrest mass, if they move so quickly, though, trying to catch them by the time the police get there, these kids have ran on somewhere else. But I think if these events continue and they continue to grow so large, everybody ain't gonna be able to get away by the time the police get over there. And I don't understand the reason why a shootout would take place in the middle of these events. These are young, stupid kids with guns. And I really do think the black neighborhood is very ignores this behavior. Until these officers shoot and kill some of these kids. Now, once these officers put some lead in some of these kids, then we're going to see black people stand up and say, why you do that to my son, Johnny? He was just a good kid. Okay, Johnny had a gun around hundreds and thousands of teenagers running through Piedmont Park. There is no way in hell I would raise my children around you black heathens. I couldn't do it. If I had children, I would not raise my kids in a black urban city. I just couldn't, not today. Everything's out of control. Nobody seems to care. Nobody cares. I mean, it's just, where are these ignorant ass parents? Why are they not watching their kids? Why aren't they watching little Johnny? That 16-year-old girl who passed away, I would love to know where her parents were and did they know where she was? Did they even care? I know you're 16, you're still a child. This happened at 9-something at night, almost 7:30, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. This young lady was killed at Piedmont Park. But I still have to wonder, when you have these teenage, I'm seeing on the news, come here, Grayson. I'm seeing on the news these events taking place. And I know these parents know these events taking place, unless these parents are not watching the news and not is there anything going on in their surroundings. Ain't no way in hell I would allow my child out that door. Where are you going? In fact, I'm going with you. You going with me. We are going together. Just running around with these pack of teenagers. And they seem to think this is fun. I saw a video coming out of Philadelphia where these kids were running into traffic, running toward public buses in the middle of the street, towards cars, daring people to hit them. Daring them. I'm thinking, are you kids insane? These niggas are insane. There's so much mental illness in this community. It is a lost cause. Are these the children of crack babies running wild, or what is going on here? And y'all keep saying, when I look at these neighborhoods in Atlanta, I've been in Atlanta for a long time. I look at these schools, these crappy schools in the city of Atlanta. There ain't no way in hell I would raise any child in the 404 area code. 404 day, my children didn't even know what it meant. Huh? What is 404, Daddy? Oh, you don't want to know, honey. And it's not even about you protecting, keeping your children from living in the real world, but some of the stuff is starting to get ridiculous. It doesn't make sense. There's nothing productive coming out of that. Just ripping and running these teenage takeovers in the middle, and it's going to get worse. Until these police officers pull out them guns, not them stun guns, but them guns, and cap a couple bullets off in these kids' ass, and then we might see some change. And y'all might say, well, you're talking about shooting teenagers. Shoot them. Shoot their asses. Yeah, and then parents do get them a bullet too. I don't care, shoot them all. I don't give a fuck. These kids are wild monsters, shoot them. Because all they're going to do is shoot each other, so let the officers go ahead and handle the shooting. A responsible, well-trained shooter who knows who he's aiming for, hopefully. Don't get no innocent bystanders to get them little kids running out there. But it seems like the older I get and I look at Black Americans and how dysfunctional everything is getting worse in 2026, and how we have ignored this shit. We have ignored this stuff, ignored it to the point where this shit is going into an abyss. When I was looking for a home, I had been in Atlanta for decades, and I said, I cannot live out here anymore. I drove in the streets of Atlanta looking at houses, and I saw them heathens ripping on, running all over the place. I remember me and Earl went to go look at this really nice house that I've been keeping an eye on. And Earl was just like, I don't like this house. It was beautiful. It was fully renovated. It was off Metropolitan Parkway. It was in, I forget the name of that neighborhood. It was across from Pittsburgh. It's a neighborhood across from Pittsburgh. Something Park. Adair Park. I love Adair Park. Earl didn't like Adair Park. I love it. I think it could be a great neighborhood. It's turning into a great neighborhood. I have to go down and take a look. Anyway, it was a house I fell in love with. It was fully renovated. It was a big, beautiful home, renovated. They wanted like $900,000 for the house. I was like, Lord have mercy, it was high. And the problem was it was too close to Metropolitan. So every time we would drive by the house, it literally sat maybe 2 or 3 doors down from Metropolitan Parkway, which is a busy street and all this foot traffic. And every time we went over there was this guy walked up and said, man, I got everything you need. He was selling drugs right there near the house that we were looking at. So me and I was like, we pull in the driveway and going to the house. I liked the house. It was an older house. It was renovated. It was nicely done. It was asking $900,000 off Metropolitan Parkway in Adair Park. And I thought, this is outrageous for this house. Because I've been sitting there for a while, and I was going to make and this is when real estate was selling fast, like real quick. But after a couple of trips to that house with Earl and by myself, I realized this isn't going to work. The neighborhood was too rough. And when I drove over there one night by myself, when the sun went down, I was laying in bed. I said, let me go over there and just drive. I got up about 9, 10, 11 o'clock, and I rolled through there. Oh, boy. Them streets was alive. Them zombies were out there. I couldn't believe my eyeballs of the way how Metropolitan was awake. As I drove down, got off the highway. I forget the name of that street. You get off the highway, the street, and then you go to Metropolitan, and made a right at Metropolitan. There's an exit right there. I can't think of the name of it, but anyway, y'all know what exit I'm talking about. If you know Metropolitan Parkway, if you make a left, you're going back towards JJ's Fish Shack. You make a right, you're going towards Metropolitan. Dang, you need an exit. But anyway, I went over that shit that neighborhood was jumping at 11 o'clock at night. And I thought, I cannot live over here. And this was in 2022. And the crazy part is, this was like winter 2022, like February, March. It was one of those, it was in late February or early March. The weather wasn't bad, but Atlanta, our winters don't last long. But when I saw them kids running down at 11 o'clock at night, I'm like, damn, look at all these kids running around here, all these people. It's nighttime. What is going on here? There's a couple of housing projects up in that area, some government housing or some apartments over there, I don't know. It dawned on me, this is not going to work. And then they wanted $900,000. Here's the funny part. Not soon after that, I kept an eye on that house. I'm like, they're never going to be a seller's house. That house went under contract. We bought this house, and one day I was in the neighborhood. I drove over this to see who bought that house. It was some white folks bought that house. Surely did, and white folks in that house. Look at this, other people, they looked at me. I said, good luck, y'all. They looked at me, they were scared. I said, I know y'all are scared. They didn't do their due diligence, drive by there at nighttime. Because that house at nighttime on that street was a wild, because it's just too close to Metropolitan. So, I can't do these black neighborhoods. I did the old 4th Ward in 1998. Now, the crazy part is I love the old 4th Ward now, and it's really changed. But back then, I don't know what to say about these urban neighborhoods with all these crazy black folks in there that are being pushed out. They pushing them out. Good, push them out. They need to be pushed out. They push them out the neighborhoods. Oh, good. Let them go somewhere else and tear up the damn neighborhood like locusts. And that's how I view these teenager takeover events. They're like locusts running through areas, just tearing everything up. Yeah, I think the right officers get their ass trapped, round them up and throw them on a bunch of buses, zap their ass with some lead or do something. And this has been going on, and I think a lot of cities have this problem. But we'll see. Time will tell how because they're gonna fix that problem. It's unfortunate that young lady was shot and killed at 16 years of age at Piedmont Park. When I saw the videos of the thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of heathens down there, I couldn't mind. Well, it started off as a fun family event. As the evening went on, it changed. The atmosphere literally changed. Where I wasn't there, but when I read, it changed. All these kids got there. So I remember a few years back, they used to have an event at Piedmont Park called Movie Night, where they put up this big screen and everybody bring blankets and food and stuff, and you watch movies. It used to be so much fun. But after them teenagers, this was some years ago, they had one event where all these teenagers came down there and just destroyed everything, chased people away. Somebody got shot or something happened there. I never forget that. They stopped doing that movies in the park thing. I don't know if they've resumed it since then. But I was there that night that took place. Me and Earl was there watching the movie, and Earl said, let's get the fuck up out of here. I'm laying there watching the movie, not really understanding what was going on around me, but when I looked up, I said, because I'm laying on a blanket, and I realized, oh shit, these kids, this is what's going on down here. And literally everybody, we all jumped up and grabbed our stuff and got up out of there. In the middle of the movie. And we never went back down there again to those events. It was a nighttime event. And it used to be so much fun. Atlanta Piedmont Park has some really great festivals, the Jazz Festival, the Art Festival. They do what's coming up, should be coming up this new weekend coming up, is the I don't know if they're still having that festival this weekend. Normally around my birthday, they have an event at Piedmont Park. I haven't heard anything about it this week, but I heard they were having some financial issues and they were going to charge to let people into the event this year. But normally around my birthday, which will be in a few days, today is April 6th, they have an event at Piedmont Park, and I can't think of the name of it. It's every spring, and I don't know if they have it this year or not. Again, I love black people. I'm black. I love our communities. I wanted to live in the black community, but I found it's not safe. But when the crazy part is when when communities do become safe, they're no longer black communities, like Eastlake, Kirkwood, Old Fourth Ward. Those were predominantly black neighborhoods, but now they're safe because they're no longer black neighborhoods. They are now predominantly white neighborhoods. Figure that one out. Why can't we have areas, our communities that are predominantly black where you feel safe? Every community we looked at, and we looked at a lot of communities before we bought this house, just wasn't cutting it. And I really thought the West End had come a long way. It got a long way to go, y'all. And I'm not being critical, I'm just being truthful. I know a lot of people probably gonna see the video and think I'm trying to say something bad about Atlanta. Atlanta's a great city. If you can afford it, and you have a good income, and you can afford these expensive homes, but why pay $900,000 for a house off Metropolitan Parkway to put up with that trash and riffraff, high-ass car insurance, mortgage, high-ass homeowners insurance, high-ass taxes, and you got all this riffraff running around right outside your front door selling drugs, and prostitutes running up and down Metropolitan. It's still rough over there. Adair Park, Pittsburgh, there are a couple of neighborhoods back up in there where a lot of homes have been selling recently. But I like where I'm at in Smoke Rise, because it's quiet, it's peaceful. I don't have that riffraff over here. It's nice over here. And I'm still a 20, 30-minute drive from Atlanta. It ain't so bad. It's peaceful, and it's cheaper in the scheme of things. Taxes are cheaper, water is cheaper, insurance is cheaper, everything's cheaper, and you are safer. This is my thoughts. But anyway, today is Monday. It is April 6th. The year is 2026. I'm about to get out of here. I got physical labor today. I'm going to go eat something and get my ass out of here. I'm out. You all have a wonderful day.